Perfect. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for bearing with me during that technical difficulty. Nothing is going to stop this pre-launch, our launch, official launch of our Release the Chains book anthology. First, let me introduce myself, and then I want to have you guys meet a couple of the other authors that have joined me on this amazing journey. So my name is Ari Squires, and I have been an author and a speaker and a brand manager and coach for so long. Like I got inspired to write my very first book, which was Release the Chains, a woman's roadmap for finding the strength to reclaim her destiny back in 2014. And during that time, I had shared my deepest, darkest secrets of my life of living in Sacramento, California, and all of the things that I had gone through the from the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, all of it that brought me into my purpose of really just helping other people share their own stories. And so that Release the Chains book started a whole movement. I mean, I produced films, we went on tours, I've spoken all around the world, I've done business conferences and self development conferences all around the world. I've been able to meet and be mentored by people like Stedman Graham, Kevin Harrington. I mean, so many amazing people that I have been able to be mentored by and also work with, all because I opened up my mouth and released my own chains of my fear, of my shame, of my limitations, of the judgment that I thought everybody would have towards me. And because I did that, I sparked a whole movement that allowed other women primarily to release their chains, to come into their power, to come into their purpose, and to really fully be apologetic about that process, which is where I am now. So since that time, since I released that book, with all of those things happening along the way, I met some amazing women. Like I said, I created some films. I've done a lot. And so I always said that I wanted to do a 10-year anniversary edition to this book. And so as I was writing and sharing, what happened since then, 2014 up until now, which was 2024 when we started this project, you know, and all that had transpired from just so many things that you'll read about when you get your copy of the book. So many lessons and blessings and silent storms as well that I had gone through. So I just wanted to keep sharing my story of releasing chains because I know the power of releasing chains and I know what happens to us when we're able to step outside of whatever it is that's holding ourselves back. Because as you'll hear me say in this book, I talk about how we are the ones that are responsible for holding the chains. We hold them. So that means we have the power to release them. And those chains could be anything. It could be relationships, it could be your own self-doubt, it could be you sitting on your gift and not doing nothing with it. It could be a relationship, it could be anything, but it's a chain that you have the power to release. And once you release it, the world changes, everything shifts. So for me, it was sharing my story of incarceration, going to jail multiple times, being homeless, sleeping in the back of my car, and then turning around and working with young girls and starting a mentorship program and having a dance school in Virginia, and having that shame of these people really don't know who I am. They really don't know my story. And once I released it, I just became free. So that's the short story. That's the short story. I've been featured in Black Enterprise and Forbes and many other magazines. Again, just from opening my mouth and being transparent and authentic in who I am and my story. It's amazing what happens when you share a story. So as I was writing this 10-year anniversary edition of Release the Chains, which is not just a book, it's a movement. It's been a movement. I felt like I needed more. I wanted to hear more from other women and their stories and their journeys of reclaiming their destinies or taking control of their lives and them coming into their purpose, whether they're just at the start of it, because many of us are, whether they've been on the journey for a while or whether, they're in a pivot, like I am in my life. I'm at a pivot And one of my close friends, Isaiah Washington, you guys may know him. He's been in several movies, several films. He was the Black Doctor on Grey's Anatomy. He told me that we tend to shift, our lives tend to shift every 10 years. Like something major typically happens to us every decade. Not like decade 2020, 2022. I mean, not 2020, 2030, 2040, but just sometimes every 10 years. And it's different for all of us. And so I reached out to some amazing women and invited them to be part of this experience. And all of the women who are part of this are very courageous. All of them have touched me in some way. We've had some kind of relationship in something somehow where they've been a part of this journey for the last 10 years. So I'm going to start with Princess. I'm going to start with Princess. So Princess and I, we met when I was doing my first film screening. We had a red carpet screening,
Yeah.
sold out the Fredericksburg
Yes.
theater, the Paragon theaters. I mean, we had celebrities, we had the cameras there, we had the newspaper, the media. It was just amazing, just from us again sharing our story. So this was the next movement, and I talk about this in my book, like how to, for those of you guys that are entrepreneurs, like how to take your brand and leverage it, into something bigger and something that's more impactful. And so for me, it was creating no More Chains, which is a documentary which shares people's stories of going from chains to change. And so Princess was doing her thing. She's a radio host, she's a podcast host, she's a poet. Okay, I'm not going to give too much because you're going to have to get the book to kind of really see her artistry. But I met her and she was on the red carpet. She was doing photography and we were just been connected ever since.
Yep.
And what I love personally about Princess is that she, when I talk about authentic and keep it real and speaks her mind, that's my kind. That is my kind of people. If you know anything about me and you know me, you know that those are the type of people that I like to surround myself with. I like people who are confident in who they are. They don't care what people think about them. They're going to say what they want to say. And that's what I love about Princess. So I was so happy when she said yes. So go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story and what you shared in this book.
So yeah, my name is Jewel Princess Johnson, or I got a number of names. Mostly names that you guys gave me, the people. But I'm just Princess for the most part. I'm from Richmond, Virginia, and I think most of my story in the book is me releasing the chains of trauma, or yeah. So I guess um most of my life has been surrounded with trauma, and it kind of followed me wherever I went. And I think there's a shame in that, where you may not have been the cause of the trauma, but it kept following you wherever you went. um and you may not directly had anything to do with it. But it was circumstantial. And so for me, I think that became my story. It became my thing. It became who I was. The problem with that is that's okay to a degree if you don't know how to let go of that. Um, that's okay if you are holding that and it becomes the only thing you are. And I think that's who I was becoming. I was becoming a person where that was becoming my makeup. Until recently, until the last 2 years, where I kind of had this major shift where I no longer wanted to be bounded by this great grief, by this great grief of hurt that was beginning to overtake me. At some point, when you're carrying all of this hurt, it has to go somewhere. You, if you're carrying, you keep stuffing stuff under the rug, it gets heavy. There's no more places for the skeleton in your closet to go. And I don't care what you do with it. At some point, you have to take your laundry to the laundromat and clean it up. And so that's what I begin to do. And so as you begin to read what I wrote in the story, what you're going to find is ultimately I tell you that my story is still being written. You're going to be able to find that I tell you that I'm not at the end. You'll find that I tell you that I'm still a mess.
Girl, we
you
all
know,
are.
You'll find that I tell you that I'm not perfect, and that I really love God. And I'll find and I'll tell you to chase after that. I'll tell you to chase after that heavily. Find a balance and find strength in letting go of who you were, because that's okay too. It's okay to get rid of a stigma, especially when your identity is wrapped up in that stigma. It's okay to be somebody else. Um, it's a freeing and releasing of the chain. So release that shit.
Yes, honey, release that shit all the
Yeah.
way. And when you release it, let it go and don't look back at it.
And
Just keep it
don't look
moving.
back. Excuse my language, y'all. And don't look
No,
back. Yeah.
mm. So
So yeah,
what do you have to say about, the feeling of releasing the chains and when there's people in your life that may have something else to say about your life?
people gonna always have something to say about something, especially people who ain't doing nothing. The people that talk the most are the people who have nothing going on. The people who are afraid of change, the people who don't have the discipline, or even the strength to change. Those are your biggest haters, biggest talkers. And so for those people, I have nothing to say. It takes a strength for you to even find the courage to change. One of the hardest parts of my change was going to therapy, was deciding that this was because we church folk. We are church folk. So everybody's answer to everything is go to God. Yeah, we gonna do that. But also God put resources here on the earth for us to go get some other help too. And so one thing I tell people to do is do whatever works for you to get your healing healthily. Okay. I'm not telling y'all to go drink and go smoke the healthy versions of that. And then I tell you, don't listen to whatever anybody tells you that's not good for you. You do whatever you need to do to get to wherever you got to go. And the other part about that is that it's a freeing feeling getting that dead weight off. It's like when a black woman got to change something, she cut her hair. Releasing of a change feel like changing your hair. It's like it's like cutting off the hair. Um, it's like letting go, and it's a freeing feeling. And you should do it. You should try it.
So what for you in your business, right? Tell us a little bit about what you do in your business.
Oh God, I do everything. So I'm an event host, a planner, a poet, a writer, an artist, and an overall activist. And y'all know I love the kids. So I do a little bit of everything. Um, I think more importantly right now here lately, because I don't know how much I've been doing lately because I kind of took a major step back. So I think more importantly, what I'm doing right now is just advocating for the community. Um, and I think that's more of what I want to do. So, what I am doing right now in this present time is working with my youth babies. I am not pushing the events anymore as heavily as I used to. And I just wrote a book. Okay. That's what I'm doing in my business. And most of these proceeds and things will go and will be donated towards that. So that's how you support what I'm doing. Um, anytime there's a need that's it has to be filled, that's what we're doing with this money. Right now, I'm in a very good place financially, spiritually, and everything else, where most of anything that's being given to me, I'm literally giving it away. And so that's where we are with it. I have an event coming up called Queens of Poetry. You can support that. The tickets are $20. They're online at Eventbrite. And that's it. If you need an event host, you can go to my website, cocaina.com. KOKAYEENA .com. If you need a poet for your event, I'm still willing to do those. But outside of that, that's kind of where I am. I'm just in the community, activisting. What's the word? Being an activist.
Activism, philanthropy.
That's the one.
But no, but I love that. And I love you've always done that though, because I see you on your page and you're like, hey, I have a sister who she can't pay her rent this month. Here's the cash app, let's bless
Yeah.
her. Or hey, support, everybody share something on this thread and send somebody $20 for lunch. Send
Yep.
somebody $20 for lunch today. I see you doing that a lot, and so I can tell that that's just who you are and what your purpose is, and I believe that's why you're so blessed. Matter of fact, I know that's why you're so blessed, and I know that you are for the community, and I love that about you as well. And I think you don't know it, but you actually inspire other people to want to be more community based, because so many
Thank
people
you.
nowadays, and I know you all who are watching and listening can agree that it's people are really self, you know what I'm saying? What's the word?
Yeah,
Like they're just about
all for
themselves.
self.
Yeah, it's kind of just like, it's not really about community and it's not about helping
I think
others.
that's social media. I think social
Yeah.
media gives the illusion of we're touching each other, but we're not. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, the problem with that is that the world isn't gonna save us. And y'all know what I mean by that. It's our job to take care of each other. And what's $20 on 100? We can take
Mm-hmm.
care of each other. We can because it's $5. You got $5 to take care of your sister. So um, if I got it, I'm gonna share it and gotta give it back because what's God can afford your dreams. God can afford my dreams.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, absolutely. Well, thank you, Princess. So tell
Thank
us
you.
where we can go and purchase your pre-sales for your book and follow you, and then I'm gonna come back to you. So stay
Yeah, so
there.
you can follow me everywhere at Cocaina. That's Kokayeena. I know y'all don't like the name, but I've had it for the past 15, 20 years, so I'm not changing it, y'all. It's Kokayeena. They don't call me Cocaina because I'm a drug dealer. They call me Cocaina because I'm dope. And it just stuck. We're not changing it. Get with it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but so it's Kokayeena.com. And that's literally my everything. If you Google it, I'll pop up. That's my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter, my everything. You can find me there, and that's where my book is too. And my pre-sale links is all there.
I love it. Does anybody have a question? Those of you that are on the Zoom or anything you would like to say um, right now, feel free to add any kind of remarks or anything that you want to add. I know you have some of your people on here. Um, Anybody want to come on? You can say something in the chat or come on video or audio. Just open your mic or your video. Any question you have for Princess. And if not, that's okay. I'll take your questions later as well. And I wasn't going to open up for questions, but since we have so many people on, I feel like why not? Right? Why not? And this is what happens. This is the thing. When we were touring the No More Chains films, we would do like a talk after the screening, and people were listening to the story, the people in the film, the talent that was in the film that I interviewed and documented their lives. And we would say, okay, you guys have any questions? You guys have any questions? And everybody was so silent. And I know it was because they were into their own thing that was going on with them within them. And but then after the show, everybody is running up to us with questions and
Mhm.
tears in their eyes and hugs and just celebrating the movement. And so it's just, so someone said, I'm proud of you, Princess. Can't wait to purchase and support you. Um, yes, definitely support what she's doing, you guys, because she, like she said, she just doesn't do it just for her, it's for the community. But like I was saying, everybody, was just coming up to us, and that's why I created like resources and instead of just sharing stories, I'm very solution driven. You'll
Mhm.
notice like even in my posts when I post on social media or when I'm doing little snippets, I'll always say something, but then there's a solution to it at the end of the day because I can't, share something with you without providing some kind of solution, right? You can't
Yep.
talk about a problem if you're not talking about a solution, right? And so that's why I realized, okay, so many people are going through things, they're holding on to stuff. What kind of pamphlet or course or book or workbook or journal can I now create for those people that need to journal, those people that
Mhm.
need extra additional resources, or who can I bring along now to as a therapist that they can call on, and hire and talk to, because we do need that support. We do need that extra thing. So I appreciate you guys for coming on and supporting. Thank you, Princess. So like I was saying, during this process, and just, just doing me, just doing RE, living, learning, laughing and loving, all of those things for the 10 years. I always had this connection to my hometown of Sacramento, California. Sacramento, California made me. Like, it's who I am. Like, I live in Atlanta, Georgia now. When I'm out, it's so crazy because people will say that after I'm talking for a little while, even though now I have a country accent because I've been in the South for too long. But they say that I could tell you from Sacramento, not Sacramento, but I could tell you're from California because
Mhm.
California is, it's in me. It's in my blood. It's in my DNA. And I love my state. I love my city, and I go home as much as possible. But us California people, we have a certain type of energy. We're very mellow. We're very, I think, mystical. We're magical, and we're very mild manner, but yet we're hustlers. We gonna hustle. We're gonna do whatever we have to do to make things happen. And so at during my journey, I had went to middle school and high school with this lovely young lady. Her name is Dorothy. And we weren't close growing up, but we have mutual friends that we're both very, very, very close to. And so we always kept a connection thanks to social media. And I noticed that she started to get into her, I saw a shift in her online. I noticed her language was changing. She was speaking more about holistic and wellness and yoga and meditation and all these things that I am a big fan of. And I saw her changing, and then I saw her release her business. And so I was like, hey, what can I do to support you? Can I help? I'm a natural business coach, just without even wanting to be paid, but just that's just who I am. Whatever I can do to help somebody, pursue their purpose and make something happen and develop a business, I'm always wanting to do that. And so we had a couple conversations, and then I was just, going through this process, and I reached out to Dorothy and I asked her if she wanted to share her story. And I didn't even know her story. I just knew she had one. So welcome, Dorothy. Thank you for saying yes. Please introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you shared, a little bit of what you shared in this book.
Okay, well, yes, we have a history of being from Sacramento, California. I am Dorothy, and I have recently launched my own business. I was taking on a journey from my early 20s until now that led me on a health and wellness spiritual path that has led me to start my own business to promote different modalities of health and wellness for us as Black women, especially. And so in the book, I wrote about my journey of how I got to this point. I am a cancer survivor, and that has been life changing for me. And I don't want to give too much up because it's in the book, but I now teach yoga. I am a certified juice therapist, and I am a self taught vegan chef. So I do a lot of things to help people find different ways to manage their health. I have my own philosophies about certain constructs of our society. And I just like people to know there's a different way to approach health and wellness. And it's free and available to all of us. And sometimes we just need a person to give us permission to do something different.
Yeah.
And I like to inspire folks to let them know you can, at this moment, right now, make a decision to do something different to get a different result. So I was really happy, but a bit nervous when Ari asked me to share my story. I have been pretty private, but then understanding that in sharing, there's a lot of healing. And I was able to release a lot of those strongholds that I've been dealing with all my life when I wrote my story out. And I'm excited about it. I'm just now starting my business. So I've been an employee for the last 20 years, so I'm transitioning from employee to entrepreneur and having being a part of a network of other entrepreneurs has inspired me so much. So I was super excited when Ari asked me to join the movement in writing the book and co-authoring. Um, and yeah, I'm getting it together, and I just, like I said, want people to realize that health and wellness is available to everyone and anyone.
I
Yeah,
love
no
it. Now
matter where you are.
you
Mhm.
talked about transitioning from employee to employer, right? Because now
Mhm.
you become your own boss and eventually
Right.
you'll hire your own staff and your own teams as you scale and you grow. And that's a whole releasing the chains of itself, right?
It is.
Because it's a mindset shift, right? It's one of
Definitely.
those things where you're used to being under other rules, other systems, other support, right? And then now transitioning into entrepreneurship while still working, right?
Mhm.
What changes have you had to release in that process?
You have to truly believe in yourself that things will happen. The security of being an employee can keep you stagnant and
Yeah.
keep you you know, in a box, if you will. You don't branch out. So I have to shift into that I can make things happen and I don't have to rely on the outside. A lot of our power and our strength comes from within. And it's okay to take risk, and you have to have faith that things will work out for you. Um, it's a process. As Princess was saying, I am not perfect. I am learning. I am a mess. There's a lot of things that I still need to learn. And but the journey is where the magic is, right? Learning along the way, networking with folks, making mistakes. It's okay to make a mistake. That's where you learn a lot of times the most, is when you mess up.
Yes.
So don't be scared, releasing that fear of that security that we put on ourselves, thinking that an employer will give us. But a lot of times you're just a number. They don't really care about you. So being able to shift into doing things that come from my heart, that are a part of my passion, you're able to grow, and you do meet, things fall into place once you release the fear. Things happen, and a lot of times it just comes to you once you allow it. And so that mindset is the biggest shift, releasing the fear of stepping out on my own and trusting that I have what it takes to be successful at whatever I want to do. Yeah,
And that's a big thing because we
it is.
have been programmed, and there's nothing wrong with working and being an
No.
employee. I highly suggest it. I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with it. My mother was a prime example of that. My mother,
Yeah,
when she passed, she was damn near a millionaire and she worked a job. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So as long as you are managing your money properly and you are intelligent and you love what you do, it doesn't matter what you do. As long as
right.
you're in your purpose and you're impacting lives, I think it doesn't matter whether you work for someone or not. But when you do become your own, when you kind of take the reins and you start to control things, you are absolutely right. It is very scary because we have been programmed to believe that things
Yes,
have to be a certain way, especially those
absolutely.
of us that are over 30, right?
Mhm.
35, maybe over 40. When we grew up, we were told, things had to be this way, go get an education, nothing wrong with that. I own a degree as well. Get a
Yeah,
good job, nothing wrong with that. But we don't know that there's alternatives, just like
yeah,
alternative medicine, alternative health,
exactly.
Yeah.
alternative wellness. There are alternatives to living the life of your dreams. And I know with my story of releasing the chains, man, I'm a prime example of that. Like a prime example of
Right.
that you can live, but you do have to release that systematic mindset. How
Right.
has that been for you? Like for real, because I think it's important for some people to know because you never know who's listening right now, who is
Yeah.
sitting right where you are at the beginning stages of it all, that just
Mhm.
need to hear your story and what that's like because it is a shift. It is a releasing of the chains.
It really is. Again, that fear runs deep. we've been programmed to think that you have to have it all together right away. And it's okay to take baby steps into finding what your passion is, what your purpose is. And it could be more than one. It just takes a dedication and even deeper than a dedication, a devotion to how you want to live your life. And again, it's a day by day process. Sometimes you feel like I have the audacity to try to start a new business, at this time in my life. I am over 40, actually closer to 50. And being a woman of color, and getting into health and wellness, there's a lot you may feel that's going against you, that is going to tell you, no, you can't do this. So having that devotion in your purpose is what carries me through constant learning, but at the same time, just giving yourself permission to be okay with change. Um,
Mm,
the change is the scary part,
mhm,
and finding the tools, the good supportive system, people who believe in you, people who are willing to be there for you, and uh, and every day you have to work at it and chip away at it. And you can have fun with it. It can be stressful, don't get me wrong, but we don't focus on that part. We
Right.
focus
right.
on the milestones, things like I like out the blue. You hit me up and was like, "Would you be interested?" I wasn't thinking of a book or co-authoring anything at that time. But then when you brought it to my attention, to my awareness, I was like, this is a good opportunity. So I wanted to jump in, just run with it and see where it takes me. I think the biggest thing for me is not knowing, having uh, fun and not knowing what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Yeah.
times we want to know how is it going to work? What's the end game? We need to know everything beforehand. But when you let go of that control, of trying to control the whole process, trying to control every outcome, you open it up to possibilities you didn't even think of.
Yep.
And that's where I am finding a lot of fun and patience and just having that faith that you need to know that it will work out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Being, like I said, a woman over 40, woman of color, curvy woman, teaching yoga, I was really nervous about not fitting the stereotype of what we're used to seeing as a yoga instructor or health and wellness coach. Um, but when you realize that everybody, we're all made differently, but we all deserve to feel good. We all deserve to be living our best selves. That you have to get over, like Princess was saying, you can't care what people think about you. You can't care about people telling you no, you can't do it. You have to mute a lot of that static that comes to you and keep believing in yourself and staying focused on what you want to accomplish, because there's going to be a lot of naysayers, and you can listen to them, you learn from them, and you're doing something right when a lot of people are telling you you can't do something. So it is a shift, a total shift in your mindset. And I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm learning with it. I currently teach yoga twice a week here in Sacramento. I'm opening up to teaching free yoga in the park this spring once the weather gets better, because I am in the community a lot and I do want to offer what I have to give to people of all ranges. What if you have money or if you don't or whatever, I still want you and want folks to benefit from what I have to offer.
Oh,
I do vegan cooking classes at the community for free as well. We do those quarterly just to show people you could use different ingredients. You can just maybe have a meatless Monday or something, just something different to get a different result. So I do that in the community as well. Um, Starting online yoga classes soon to reach more people and just keep growing. I also make juice for a lot of folks too. So just keep at it, keep chipping away. I'm excited about getting my story out there. It's so different for me because I'm a pretty private person. So it's new boundaries, new territory. But again, it takes courage and it lets people know that we're all relatable. Most of the
Mhm.
issues we all have.
Yep.
Yeah.
And is it's okay. And
Mhm.
the way I tell my story versus the way you tell yours, somebody can benefit from it.
Mhm.
And I'm just super honored and excited to be a part of the movement.
I
So
love
thank
it.
you,
I
Ari.
love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I love it because people will see you. And that's what happened with me, you and I. I saw
Mhm.
you, right? Because you were radiating purpose. You were radiating passion, as you said. And so when you step out there and start doing something from your heart, from a place of love instead of fear, people
Right.
will see you. And that's when the doors open. That's when
Absolutely.
God shows up
So
like in different ways, like everything begins to show up. So Dorothy, where can they get your book from you? Because I know they want autographed copies.
absolutely. So right now, everything, email me. I am setting up all of my websites and things. I'm still in the process. I just got back from Africa, so I have a lot, a lot of going on. So my email is the meridiansoul@gmail.com. So Meridian is meridiansol@gmail.com. So the Meridian Soul, and it's just SOL @gmail.com.
Awesome. And you guys will be doing pre-sales all the way up until the end of this month. And the books will be shipping the first week in April. Just FYI for those of you guys that are interested. But make sure you reach out, get your pre-orders in so you can get your autographed copies. You guys are going to love this book.
Yes,
Um, these are some great stories, great women. Thank you, Dorothy. I'm going to have you come back before we end. Thank you so much for your authenticity. I really appreciate it.
thank you.
So as I was sharing with you guys, man, my journey. Moving from Sacramento, California to Fredericksburg, Virginia was a huge cultural shift for me because it was just different. It's just different environments, different vibes, different energy, but it was a great shift for me. It was actually one of the top three best things I've ever done for myself because I had to release that lifestyle that I was living. I had to release that circle and that energy that I was in to create a better life for myself and my future children. Um, and during that process, I ended up opening up a dance and performing arts school in the Fredericksburg area, and I mentored so many different young ladies, so many like thousands of young ladies, Black girls came through that school and I was able to create what we called a teenage circle. We would meet every Saturday morning, and I met this young lady. She was number one. She was a part of my dance school. She was in high school, middle school or high school, and she just had something. She just had this determination and this will, but she also had a lot of stuff that she was dealing with as well. Just on the inside with herself that I'll let her share and so we would have conversations, and I would always include her in things and invite her to things because I wanted her to experience something different and see other Black women in different spaces, and then have mentors and people, other Black women that she can lean on and cry on and hug on. And she would always show up and we stay connected all these years because that was back in 2004, 5, 6, and 7. So it's been a long time since not that long. So I think I met Zakia back, let me see, maybe 2009 or 10. I'm not sure. But we've been connected for a long time. She stayed in touch. She always reach out and ask for advice and just lets me know how she's doing and what's going on. And so she's one of my mentees. And so I reached out to her and asked her to be a part of this project and share her story. And I'm so glad that she said yes. So welcome, Zakia.
Hello, hello.
Welcome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what you shared in the book.
So, you know, I
I'm from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Unfortunately, but anyway, um, but now I'm living in Arizona, and I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Okay.
you know um I've met some really great people. I've gotten into some holistic things as well, going to the farmers market, um and just really getting into some things that I wasn't a part of. And then I just got back into, funny you mentioned me being a part of the dance studio. I just got back into doing improv classes and things like that out here,
Right.
um which is nice to see because everybody in there is at least 40 and up. So I'm the youngest person in the class. Um, but yeah, what I wrote about in the book, I think a good summary would be like how to weather the storm through transition. Um, I really was going through a tough time before coming out here. Um, just dealing with family, dealing with people that were supposed to be friends, um, dealing with how to be a mother and a wife while still being traumatized actively, you know, um, and trying to just move not only myself, but a whole family to a different area that none of us have ever existed in, um, was a huge leap. Uh, but I think that the inspiration in that is that I had a vision. I got to the exact place I wanted to be, and
Yes.
then met people that were better than the people that I already thought that I wanted to stay attached to, the
Mhm.
situations that I thought I wanted to stay attached to. And then I
Hmm.
got the courage to detach myself, mainly because stuff had gotten so bad and I really knew that I just didn't want to exist in that space anymore, that I had to find something else. Um, so I, I feel very blessed to be doing what I'm doing now. But what's funny is that this launch is happening the day that I actually got removed from the work site that I was at
Mm.
because of another staff member who is very manipulative and also has a lot of connections to higher ups who are very racially inclined.
Mm.
And so she had the upper hand on that. And, I was mature enough to say, you know, I saw this happening from the day that she moved here. So, because you
Mm.
can tell when an energy shift in an
Yeah.
environment is super
Hmm.
heavy and it's going to affect you, you just don't know how. And that's the
Mm.
position that I was in, but I stuck with it. And I made sure that my supervisor knew what was happening step by step, from my perspective. So then when stuff did hit the fan, I didn't look crazy, you know? Um, so now I'm still a part of the entire corporation just because it's federal. So
Hmm.
I can do that. I'm just not at the same site anymore. So I'm still
Okay.
getting paid. So I was
Okay.
like,
Okay.
okay, she didn't win. I'm getting my money. He didn't get my bag, girl. But
Yes.
so, and I'm still doing things. I'm still out in the community, still making a difference in the way that I can. And my supervisor has my back. She's putting me in some other things under the table,
Good.
keeping me secure.
Good. 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 Good.
Um, but I said, I'm not about to let this be a weakness. I know this is literally the universe picking me up out of a situation and putting me into another one that I just don't know what it is yet.
Hmm.
Um, And I think what's interesting is also in this new coming term, my kids also got moved to another school that was away from the office that I was working at. So it almost feels like the universe moved everybody because something's
Mm.
about to happen. Because like my supervisor contacted me and she said, I don't know what I'm gonna do because you was doing everything.
Right.
But so it's a good thing to be in that type of position when you're needed and you're wanted also.
And your
But
value.
yes, very valued, and just know that what I bring to the table is important. And this story is going to be inspirational to anybody who's in the middle of transitioning from different situations,
Mm-hmm.
but to move on to something better, just to know that the next thing is always going to be better. It's not to put you down if you have that growth mindset and understand that, yeah, you might be uprooted from something that you're used to, and then you get all uncomfortable and you're like, no, this is not, I didn't plan for this. I thought it was going to be smooth. But
Yeah.
nothing is smooth when when God has anything to do with it. You're going to get thrown everywhere. And then
Uh-huh.
you're going to get the experience you need, and then you can look back and realize that you were prepared for everything that you were scared of happening in the first place.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that's where I am now. I can literally look back and be like, yeah, this is why I can maintain calm, and I can't go back to the old Zakia that would be like, I know where she lives and it's in walking distance. I can go over there and handle it for real, you know.
Right.
So I see that growth in myself to be like, no, this is something different and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
that's really what my chapter was.
I love your energy and I love your positivity because my whole motto is all I see is possibility, all I see is possibility. And that's the energy that you're giving and keep that energy. And I encourage everyone listening and watching to always have that optimistic approach to life because that's how life is supposed to be lived, right? Very
Hmm.
optimistic, loving to be uncomfortable because, like you said, I don't know what's next, but I know it's going to be amazing because whatever's going to happen is supposed to happen. And I'm going to step into it optimistic, full of possibility. And I love that. But you did talk about you had to detach. And I'm big on detaching, right?
Hmm.
Detaching is another form of releasing change. What was your biggest detachment in order to get to this growth mindset that you have now?
I had to detach from the idea that when you make a good relationship, that it's it's not always what it seems. You know, when I started doing this, everybody was cool, everything was fine, but and I was like, I'm making friends. This is going to be my place where I can make the difference, and this is what I'm going to be doing. But when I started to notice all the shift changes, I said, okay, this is where it shows that relationships aren't permanent, no matter how good you are in that situation, no matter how much value you bring to the situation, you can be removed, not for your plans or for their plans, but for the greater, plan of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped me detach to understand that even though I have some type of control over my life, ultimately I don't,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's
you
good.
know?
So is it detaching yourself from the outcome or detaching
Yep.
yourself from trying to control everything? Because I know Dorothy
Both.
talked about that too. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, both. Because the outcome, I definitely had a plan. I was ready for all types of stuff that I was saving up for doing, but I had to detach myself from that and understand that I can fix the plan when things get shaken up. I can still add my own little ingredients to still make it
Mm-hmm.
something that I want, even
Mm-hmm.
though it's unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, also releasing that control too.
I love that. And that's the power of planning and having a vision, right? Because when
Hmm.
you have the vision, you just have the vision. You know how you want to feel in the vision. You know what you want things to look like. You know what you want it to sound like. And so as long as you stay attached to the vision, it's okay to detach yourself from how it's going to happen.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? And who you're
Hmm.
gonna have to release or remove or meet, right? Or and join hands with along the way. But it's just having that vision and planning for that vision, and you know that you're on the right track because it is going to get bumpy. But again, it's just having that vision and knowing where you're going, and that keeps you on the right path. So I'm glad that you're keeping that vision, you're keeping this mindset, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud. I can hear the growth, and I think that you being younger, and I love the younger generation, even down to my son who's 17, about to be 18. I love the way that you guys go about life compared to those of us that are 45 and over. We tend to be locked in sometimes into um a different mind frame. You know what I'm saying? It's like the younger generation from what I see, because I mentor a lot of young ladies. Many of my I'm mentoring them into college and just a whole bunch of different things, entrepreneurship. And I see that they're not letting fear and obstacles stop them. It's like y'all just kind of like brush it off and be like, okay, that's just a part of the process. Where I've seen people in older generation, they'll stressed out and damn near dying over stuff. You get what I'm just so stressed out.
Mhm.
So I love to see the shift. And so we're learning from you guys, the younger generation. Wouldn't y'all agree? Like we're learning from these young folks. Because I
Definitely.
talk to the younger generation, honey, I'll be all up in the business because I know that the world is changing. Everything's shifting. It's you can see it in the air. You can feel it in the atmosphere. I mean, come on, y'all. Let's really look at this world and what's happening. And so I'm loving the energy. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I want to see if anybody has any questions or comments or anybody else want to come. Oh, Zakia, where can we get your book? Have you uploaded it yet? Or your email, and where can we follow you and just follow your journey?
I haven't uploaded it yet, but I am gonna have it on my email. But as far as where you can follow me, Instagram, Zakia.Harrison. That's the actual literal dot, not spelled out. Um,
How do you spell
but
Zakia?
Zakiyyah. Good question. I always forget my name is in common.
No, there's multiple ways to spell
Yeah, that is
it.
true. But yeah,
I love it.
Zakiya.Harrison on Instagram and then Zakiya Harrison on Facebook. I
Got
post
it. Got
same
it.
comment on both content on both sites.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, thank you. So we have two other authors. We have Tracy Hatch as well as Bridget Squire. And no, we're not related, but her last name is Squire. But they were not able, one of them is not feeling well, or we would have been able to introduce them tonight, but you will be able to learn more about them in the book. So tap into however you are for those of you that are watching from my Facebook page or know me. If you want to purchase an autographed copy from me, you can just go to releasethechains.com, and that's releasethechains.com. The book is now available. I'll also be putting it on Kindle. If you're a Kindle person, it's going to be released on April 1st. But we are very excited. You're going to be seeing and hearing about this Release the Chains 10th year anniversary edition, about our movement and what we're doing. Eventually, we're hoping to plan some events, some local events, some national events, some international events around this movement, because I believe that we need to have more conversations like this, more unity like this, more community like this. I believe for me personally, because I'm such a business driven and minded person, I don't tap into this side of my life as often as I want to on a big level. I do with my inner circle, but not on a larger scale. And I have been dying and itching for something like this. So I am excited. And it didn't hit me. I'm gonna be honest, y'all, because I'm so focused on my goals and my family. That's kind of where I stay. But it was last night. I was laying in my bed and I was like, wait a minute now. This is needed right now, where we are as a country, as a community, right? I don't know if y'all see what's happening in the world like I see it, but no other time than now do we need each other. Do we need this type of to that we need to be having these types of conversations? So you guys will be seeing more of this movement. You'll be seeing more of us together, hopefully. And we appreciate you guys for coming on. Princess, do you want to leave any closing comments?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with that last comment. The world's in a state of chaos right now. Um, physically, mentally. um, the people are
Spiritually.
breaking that spiritually. I think that people are breaking down in ways that we've never been broken down before. And I think that goes back to what I said about the lack of community and this big thing about social media. We are so focused on being social on media that we are not being social with each other anymore. There's this boundary that we're pushing this, and it's a mask now. So it's so the internet is not real. And I
Yep.
think it's creating this illusion that we're friends. So we're not
Mm-hmm.
checking on each other because we're checking on each other on social media. That is our
Yep.
check-in now. We see you saw me post today. That was us talking. But we didn't talk. You didn't check on. You didn't do a mental check. That was your idea of a mental check. And so um the truth is that people aren't checking on each other or checking in or making sure we're okay like we used to. We're not sitting on the porch or having cookouts or playing spades or pulling up playing talk. We're just not
We
having
are over
family talk.
here at the Squire's household, honey. That's what
Okay.
we do every
Well, good.
weekend. Okay. I just don't post
Okay.
it on social media. Okay. But every
Well, see.
weekend, that's what we doing.
Well, I see, and I love that for your household because the families are lacking.
Yep.
Funerals are becoming the new family reunions.
Yep.
Um, and so I do think it's needed more than ever. With that being said, I am always a pillar of the community. I am always someone that you can reach out and talk to because I am a former crash out. Um, a former crash out. And so if you ever need if you ever need to reach in and need someone to talk to, you can always find me everywhere, just at cocaine. And my phone number is public. So you can literally just reach out and inbox me and say, hey, sis, I need an ear. And I'll be willing to talk. And I genuinely mean that. And if I
And
can't
she
get to
does
you,
mean that.
there's a resource probably I could probably send you to somebody who can get to you. And I mean that in a very real sense, in a loving way. Yeah, because of that. So not just necessarily because I want you to buy the book. Don't buy the book or don't buy the book. But if you need somebody to talk to or you need some help or just somebody to tell you they love you that day, I love you, God loves you, and that's just what we at with.
I love it. I love it. Dorothy, you want to say anything? Closing remarks?
I was saying that's beautiful to what Princess was saying, and yeah, I think we get to a point where we become resources and we become sisters for each other, you know, in one way or another. I was just hitting up one of our mutual friends, Kyla, and she's taking a shift and living for herself as well. And first thing that came to my mind is if you need an accountability partner, I'm here. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're there for each other because the shift, the change is not easy. And things come up that you don't even think will come up. And
Mhm.
issues that you don't even realize you have come up when things starts to change. And having a support system, whether it's in person or virtual, we are creating a new sense of community, I think,
Yeah,
for us. And what you said earlier about the youth, they are fearless.
yeah, they are.
It is beautiful to see. I have 3 young daughters, coming into adulthood, and I learned so much from them and their peers about how
Yep.
they do just shake things off and they keep it
Yes.
they don't care the way we were taught to
Yep.
care.
Yep.
Our grandmothers, well, I don't know about you, but a lot of you can't leave the house unless put on a certain type of lipstick, unless you iron your clothes. And these kids
Yep.
now will show up anyway, but they're present and they're
Yep.
living their life. So there's so much to learn from the youth.
Mhm.
And as an older woman, it's our duty to pave the road for them to keep shining, not to dull them the way I think we were kind of a lid was put on us sometimes,
Yep.
my
Yeah.
generation,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we're just now blossoming in our later years. But I want the youth to just start blooming and learn what we know now at that age. So then when they
Mm-hmm.
become our age, they are just completely unstoppable. So I really, really agree with what everyone is saying. And I just think that it's okay. Is give yourself permission to be yourself, to accept everything. I think this book for me let me appreciate my past a lot
Yep.
more
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
it led me, even the all the the tragedies that we all have in our story, when we change the way we look at those stories, and change the narrative, that that's not who you are, it's just a part of your journey. And what you
Yeah.
take from it can be a positive thing, even if it
Yeah.
is something horrible, that we claim to be horrible. We can learn from it, and it can fuel us to do something different. So um I that's the main inspiration from my story. And it's okay to have what
She froze, right?
Yep.
Must be her internet. You
Dorothy come
froze.
back.
Oh, she had to come out. Yeah, so I do believe that this is because you know how I always say I say this all the time that when
Mhm.
you follow your heart, you never know what's going to happen. So I feel like something else is coming from this. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I was led to not do this by myself. There was no
Yeah.
way that I could release this 10th anniversary edition by myself. I knew that I needed something else. And I'm learning now, literally last night, how major this is, that this is really truly a movement. Zaki, are you still there? Yes. Any final words?
Um, just that I'm really grateful for this literal push that you brought into my life just from the beginning, from the dance school, just foundational beginning. Like I noticed you pop up in my life every time exactly when I need it. Even from when I moved here. Like you just randomly hit me up and was just like, "How you doing?" And everything's gonna be fine. And it was by the end of the day, that same day. So I consider you like really one of those messenger angels that, you might not hear from them all the time, but when you do, it's about to be something. Um, so I really appreciate that. And this is just another one of them moments where I'm getting thrown into some magic and I'm ready to see what gets cooked up. I'm excited.
Definitely.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm so appreciative of you guys, and I'm one of those people that you will hear me say, "I love you. I
Oh,
love you."
same. I love y'all too. I'm definitely me too.
Definitely.
That's me. I love my people. I love my family. I love anybody connected to me. I love everybody listening and watching right now. So thank you guys so much for taking this hour and some change out of your schedule to hear what we have going on, the way that we are looking to uplift and empower and elevate the world around us, especially right now. Please stay connected. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys so much. And that's all I have to say before I start getting teary eyed and start crying up in here. Uh,
Mhm.
because I am emotional because I do know that lives will be touched from these stories and from this movement. So I can already feel it. I can see it. Really, I can feel it. Just this is an energy shift. So thank you guys again. I wish you guys everyone have a good night.
Good
And
night, y'all.
Night.
does
Thank
anybody
you.
else who's on want to say anything that's on the Zoom? Anybody want to come on? Please feel free. Please feel free. They're like, nope, we just listening. If this was good for you, please give us a thumbs up in the chat. If you took something away from this, please give us a thumbs up in the chat if you can. Like I said, we appreciate your time. You did not have to show up here tonight. We appreciate you guys, and we'll send out the replay too as well once I get it all downloaded and then uploaded. All right, good
Bye,
night,
y'all.
everyone.
Good
Good night.
night.
Good night, everyone.
Night.